This is Manoj. Thank you for watching this. Through this video, I would like to give you an understanding of what is Pratyarpana all about, what are we standing for, what do we do, etc. So let me share my screen before I start. So Pratyarpana is a Sanskrit word. Its literal meaning is giving back. So when somebody helps you, when somebody has given you something, as a token of gratitude, you give back something that you have to that person or that whoever helped you, uh, is what it is. So in our case, it is about Mother Earth. We feel there is a need for taking care of Mother Earth and its environment, of course, because there is a lot of, knowingly or unknowingly, human beings are causing a lot of problems for the Earth and its environment. There are lots of studies that are going on, which also reveals the fact that there is human intervention and it is causing a lot of trouble for the environment. If you look at some of the statistics which are alarming, I mean, these are not the entire statistics that we have, but some of them, maybe even less than 5% of what of the total or entire problems that we have towards environment. 90% of the global warming causes are created by humans as one of them. 80% of urban residents are exposed to air pollution. 80% of the urban population. 23% of all estimated global deaths are caused because of the environmental issues, pollution. 50% of the water tested in 634 rivers in China are below drinkable standards. Between 1920 and 2015, 49% was the total forests in this world, which is reduced to 29%. There is a reduction of almost 20% in forests. So are these alarming? Yes, of course they are alarming. The reason for this, I mean, of course, we as a race, human beings as a race, has come a long way from Stone Ages or even before that, through our innovations and creativity, which has helped us definitely moving forward. Even today, there are lots of innovations happening. But if there is a real threat that we need to address, that should be the first and foremost aim, is what we think. It is not that we do not react. The populace that we have take up issues very seriously. We have seen it in multiple occasions around the globe, as well as within India, etc. If there are real serious issues, people definitely take care of that. But so it's just the awareness about this and the need for this, where people should also feel that there's a need. Then I think, or we think, they will definitely take care of. So there are many statistics around air pollution that acid rains are happening. Acid rain is caused by maybe acidification of ocean through carbon, emitted carbon coming back and becoming carbonic acid. I mean, there are many other areas related to the global climatic changes because of carbon emission, reduced plant growth and soil fertility because of land pollution. If you take water, water is precious. We have only, I mean, somebody can live without love or anything else for that matter, but without water, we have access to only 1% of the total water, that fresh water sources that we have. 1% is all what we have access to, as what statistics say. So if we pollute that also, then where do we go? I mean, we already are seeing a lot of drought related issues in and around places which were having abundance of water in the recent past. So there is a scarcity that is coming up. Um, we need to know what is water pollution, how polluted is our water, right? Water pollution occurs because of so many activities, because of human beings. How polluted is our water? 80% of the world's water, wastewater, is dumped back without treatment. Treating water is one of the ways with which we can reuse the water. So if we are not doing it, then we are not helping create, the one person that we have access to. We are not helping maintain that also, right? So what is the future? So there could be, I mean, people are predicting that there will be next World War for would be for water, etc. So that is a kind of, so we have heard these things as taglines in newspapers and all that, but we hear through this and leave through the other ear, and until unless it becomes a big problem for us, we don't realize. And we urge that all the political parties, media, etc., who has access to masses should bring up these causes, rather than the TRP ratings, looking at the TRP ratings and all that. So there are issues, even land pollution. Looks like 80% of the birds that are dead have some or the other plastic items in it, and we have seen multiple videos and photos of creatures living in oceans getting affected because of the dump, because of the garbage that we dump into it. Geographical issues like forest fires, and there are lots of thousands of square miles of forest has been destroyed in the US. It seems multiple million hectares of land is wasted and all that. There are many activities that are happening as well, like some of these district collectors flat I've seen. Some of them are driving initiatives for cleaning up a city from garbage. There are people who are getting educated and trying to do something. In multiple pockets, there are multiple things that are happening as well. There are organizations like NASA, NOAA, even in India, ISRO, and many other organizations which are doing a lot of studies in this area. There are lots of white papers published, publications, books around these videos, etc., etc. But I mean, and there is a reason why there are all these scientific societies, and government are funding them, because there is a need for understanding what is happening in multiple areas, not only space but in our environment. I mean, it is bifurcated, and there are studies going on in all these areas, which is good. But if everybody is doing it, what do we do at Pratyarpana? Unless until there is something which we see as a gap, there's no point in having one more environmental organization who will try to plant some 100 trees, or clean up a city by painting some walls, cleaning up walls, or um, going and preaching to somebody about the need for cycling to work, for example, right? So we think there is a gap, and I'll come to that. So there are. I just wanted to help you understand that there is a significant amount of pollution that is happening, and like we take up any other issue, like of late there was a flood in Kerala, and everybody gathered together to help that state. Likewise, we should, and if you look at the media, the 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock talk shows, rather than we feel political issues which are related to mere political issues, these kind of issues should be brought up, is what we think. Other countries like US and European countries and all that, in Senate and in Parliament, environmental issues are being taken up, and their policies, taxations, etc., are also related to these studies, to force people to reduce biofuel burning, etc. Right. So we should also base our um, uh, a rule. I mean, government should base these scientific studies for their decision making and policy making, etc. is what we think. So, moving on, all is good. There is environment, there are issues, there is human cause to it. There are organizations who are doing something about it. So what is new? Right? There's nothing new. We feel that if you get into a room which has a million items in it, and somebody asks you to our needle and haystack, right? Finding a needle in the haystack. So asks you to find a spoon to be used in the kitchen, or find a bell that can be fitted on the cycle, or find a mobile for me to make a call. If a million products are there inside a room, you can imagine how difficult it is to figure it out. If you look at Amazon, Flipkart, and all that, if you've done online purchasing, you can see that it is very easy, though they have millions of products, to find a spoon, or find a shoe, or find a mobile. How easy it is! It is just 3-4 clicks, right? So go to men's, go to shoe section, go to leather shoe, and then buy one. Go to kitchen, go to equipments, go to spoons and pick one. Go to electronics, go to um, particular company, say Apple, pick an iPhone. So it's just 3-4 clicks, and it's so well cataloged that you know exactly where to go and find an item, even though there are millions of items available there. Likewise, if you see the bifurcations here, pollution, climatic issues, biological issues, natural resources and waste, and others, though we have bucketed overpopulation, urban sprawl, and all that in others, that has a huge impact on everything on the left hand side, like pollution, climatic issues, and all that. Population is one of the major issues that we have. Air pollution, water pollution, we saw some of them, soil pollution, and all that. I showed you some statistics, some percentages, and all that. Similarly, there are a lot many. So climatic change, global warming, increased carbon footprint. Let me show you some more statistics. So this is a graph which talks about, for the last 400, 500,000 years, this is actually even beyond 800,000 years, people have figured out the CO2 parts per million. Parts CO2 is carbon dioxide. Parts per million parts carbon dioxide molecules in a million molecules in the atmosphere was 300. It varies from 180 to 300. Never has gone beyond that, which has a direct impact on global warming and heat, temperature, and all that. Global average temperature and all that. So for the last 400 years, so people have gone ahead, and there are air molecules stuck inside 800,000 years old glaciers which are there in Antarctica and Arctic and all that. So scientists, geologists, they have figured out that this was the parts per million in 400 during 3,000, 350,000 during 300s. This was the variation. So this graph is something which is scientifically proven by NASA. So now if you see in 1900 onwards or 1800 onwards, wherein our industrial revolution started happening, the biofuel we have figured out that biofuel can be a huge energy generator, right? So burning of that started in 1950s. The parts per million started climbing to 320-ish. During the last 50 years, 60 years, it has gone up to 380, 390. To be precise, 387, 390 parts per million is where we are today. Almost 400 parts per million. It is predicted that it will go to 600 parts per million in the next 1 century if you do not really think of other renewable energy sources. And you can imagine we are already seeing the global temperature rising. It is proven that almost a degree of degree centigrade global average temperature rise in the last 100 years. So if you look at the emissions, we are one of the largest growing economies. Our GDP growth rate is fantastic, number one or number two in the world itself. We were 10th or 11th position in terms of per person carbon emission during 2005, wherein we have become third in the um, last for 3 4 years, right? So 2015 we jumped from 11 to third position. Not a good jump because this is carbon emission. I mean, of course, it proves that we have the buying capacity. We are growing as an economy. We have a lot of factories coming in. We have a lot of people who can own a car, and that is why it has gone up. So, but again, we are adding to it. So, US and when the rest of the world is trying to reduce, they have identified there are lot many tech talks happening, TED shows and all that. Even in senates, there are debates about rebate or more taxation for people who are using biofuel compared to renewable energy and all that. So they are trying to reduce it. We are not there. We don't know. I mean, it is nobody's fault, but we don't know what are the issues, and we are getting there to their shoes right now. So if you want to really help the earth or the atmosphere as such, we need to think of multiple ways to reduce the activities which are really hurting our environment. Um, so again, what is it that we are thinking, which is a little different from whatever we are doing, right? So, like I said, there are TED talks happening. There are scientists in our country as well who can who knows all these things, and there are lots of dollars, millions or billions of dollars spent in research and analysis and all that. But how much of that knowledge is coming to the masses so that the people understand that there are all these issues, and we need to act together to reduce. So I am willing to change to a battery on car. I'm just giving an example. Or I'm not interested in using biofuel based I mean, electricity generation compared to wind mill based electricity generation. I'm willing to take a cut on electricity every day 3 hours. But if it really helps a cause, I'm ready to do that. People might be okay to do that as long as they are aware of it. As long as I'm not aware of it, I will not do anything because I'm ignorant about that issue, right? So there are lots of studies going on. There are lots of papers getting published. There are lots of videos about it. There are lots of other materials available in the web and everywhere else which talks about all these issues and what is causing this, what are the effects it is going to have in the near future, in the longer term, etc., etc. But it is like that, hey, I mean, needle in the haystack or the spoon in that 1 million products in a room, right? So what we are thinking is that first of all we need to assimilate. So let's understand what is our strategy, right? So we have a lot of knowledge. First of all, acquire this knowledge, right? Where are the contents available? Who are the people who knows about it? Can we bring in entire knowledge, bifurcate it into multiple? We think is this knowledge has to be collected, collated, cataloged properly, so that there's a platform wherein a single platform wherein all the knowledge is available. It is bifurcated in all the areas, and single click or easily people should be able to access it. So acquisition, I mean, collecting that knowledge is one part. Making it easy for people to, and all the knowledge possible available in one place, and making it easily accessible to people is what about the knowledge base. So building that knowledge base is very important, because the moment people are not able to find things, this entire plan is gone, because the interest is lost. So now, once the knowledge is available, like I said earlier, there are pockets of places where many of these things are happening, but not in a very organized way where we are trying to achieve one single goal at the end of the day. For example, somebody is many of them, many medias are also helping in this for organic farming. Many of them, many other people are doing something about waste segregation and waste disposal and all that. Many others are doing something about maybe climatic changes. I don't know. We have to have a team who understands the entire. These are all linked together. So an action which you take might have an impact on all of these. So getting to that kind of a plan as to what are the things, what knowledge is available, how to address these issues, right? So to address those issues, you need a team. Government alone cannot do. They have only so many hands. So we all should participate. We all should help. There are organizations like Shastra Sahitya Parishad and many science forums, many environmental forums, etc., that are helping. But we all, the masses, should get in there and then help the cause. Otherwise, it is very difficult for government alone addressing all these issues. So equipping a team is the next part of it. So how to build this team? So you have the knowledge, we have a bifurcation, we have a plan, we have all the materials available. Now, how to address all these things and how to have bifurcated teams to address these things is the next part of it. So equipping a team is not only the knowledge imparting part, but finding somebody who's really enthusiastic about it, who's convinced about it, who have that conviction to do this, who have that energy and passion to do this, right? So we think our next generation kids, if it is third standard, second standard kids, all the more better, we think, because they are very energetic. Their mind is still mind can still absorb a lot of stuff. So we think we should start from there. Of course, UP school, high school going kids, even college going kids, and the other youth who can really help in this cause by learning what is already acquired, and then having that energy and passion to execute is very important. So once you have that kind of team, they can definitely, in the longer run, they can definitely bypass what or the organization thinks, and they can start taking multiple roles in the organization, and they can maybe make it wider. And the current organization can be just a spark, and that can become bigger through these next generation. When they are equipped and having that exposure and experience, they can take it from there. So building the team who have that conviction and energy is what the next part. So equipping, maybe it is through imparting the knowledge, maybe it is through empowering them, encouraging them, multiple other soft skills, confidence building, passion building them, making them positive, helping them understand, taking them for live examples by taking them to a forest to show how deforestation can help, destroy the whole thing, or it could be anything. So equipping the team, building the team is the next part, and then execution is nothing but imparting this knowledge to the masses, so that everybody understands this. Media could help, definitely. Government can help. They can build cycling stations for encouraging cyclists. They are already doing a lot of subsidy on solar energy, which is a great renewable energy, or any of those things. But then we have to also help them, and environmentalists, social activists, science forums, etc., can also help us with knowledge, with materials, with actually helping physically executing these, maybe classroom sessions, maybe an organized trip to a nice forest with kids, say, from the forest department. It can be, limitless, things that we can do. So our intention is to make this knowledge base, equip a team, and then impart that knowledge by taking all these partners, who could be government, who could be you and me. If you are a scientist, if you are an environmentalist, if you are a doctor, a teacher, engineer, whoever it may be. You can definitely help in this course if you feel there is a calling for you. You can definitely help us, and we can definitely join hands. The more the merrier in this case. We used to have such forums. We are seeing them less active in today's world, and there's a need for us to bring in this knowledge to the masses, build a leadership who can carry it multifold from us. So those are the thoughts. We are trying to get up and walk, taking baby steps as of now. If you are really interested in helping, I mean, joining hands with us, warm welcome to all of you out there. We can be reached as manu7626 at yahoo.com, or you can call us, text us on 93425 80376. So thank you for watching once again. Hope to meet you or work with you all. Thank you very much.